Richardson. So nice to be here. So nice to be back. It's very auspicious to be practicing your enlightenment. It's always auspicious for us to be practicing the teachings of enlightenment, and to combine that with honoring mothers is beautiful practice, wonderful. I've been studying one of the ancient texts called The Perfection of Wisdom in 8,000 lines, which is about prajna paramita, which sort of means perfection of wisdom, but this perfection of wisdom, when it's depicted in a body, it is a mother. So the perfection of wisdom is shown as the mother, and she's called the mother of the Buddhas. So it turns out that the compassionate action and skillful teachings of Buddhas are born from the perfection of wisdom, born from the mother. There's a passage in there that's often chanted in Zen temples, which is an evocation and invocation of the perfection of wisdom herself. And it goes like this. Homage to the perfection of wisdom, the lovely, the holy. The perfection of wisdom gives light. Unstained, the entire world cannot stain her. She is a source of vision. She removes the darkness of delusion. She brings light so that all fear and distress may be forsaken, and delivers us from the gloom and darkness of delusion. She brings light so that all fear and distress may be forsaken. Homage to the perfection of wisdom. And in this short passage, there are several aspects of wisdom that are brought forth. For instance, and at the end, she begins the turning of the Dharma. So in this sense, she gives the possibility of turning the Dharma wheel in this passage. So some of the aspects of wisdom are thus: wisdom is itself an eye. So when wisdom is developed, it is an eye through which we see. So the way we view the world is conditioned by whether we're seeing it through the wisdom eye or the ordinary eye. And another aspect of wisdom is that it itself brings light. So wisdom is what illuminates distinctions, but also it enables us to see things as they really are, and gives us the courage to actually see things as they really are. And then finally, the perfection of wisdom, the mother of the Buddhas, starts the turning of the Dharma wheel. Because in some mysterious way, there is something that starts a Buddha's teaching. If they don't have this little extra push, they don't necessarily start teaching. In fact, our Shakyamuni Buddha, when he woke up on the night of enlightenment, he actually had to sit for a while. He didn't necessarily think he was going to teach. And because he was stimulated in some way by the request from people, but also just stimulated, the Dharma wheel started to turn. So in this text and in the Prajna Paramita literature, that's his mother who gets him to get out there and start teaching. So I appreciate the female in this sense and the mother in this sense, because they do part of the principle of mother, not just nourishment and nurturing, but part of the principle of the mother in all of us is the stimulus to action. So tonight I want to say something about action, right action. In the Noble Eightfold Path, which we study as part of the teaching of the Four Noble Truths, you remember what they are. There's right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So you could say these are 8 spokes of the wheel of skillful practice, things that we work on for our entire practice life. We think about right speech, we think about our intention, we think about livelihood, we think about concentration and meditation, we think about right action. And one way to think about right action is from the precept point of view. And then when we study precepts, there are things to think about. Not killing, not stealing, not taking what is not given, not misusing sexuality, not intoxicating, many precepts that concern action. But in the big sense, when we really think about right action, in the heart of the Buddhist teaching, before things were enumerated like that, it means not harming. So right action, in the deepest heartfelt sense of what right action is, it means not harming. Non-harming arises. The way a mother would take care of a situation, non-harming. But we would be skillful. So we don't know what it would look like from the wisdom point of view. We just know that it comes from not harming. So I was reading some koans, the old Zen stories that try to wake us up, try to basically open the wisdom eye that's often closed. So a Zen koan has a puzzling quality, often something obscure, and the stimulus to effort there is basically to get us to open our eye. So without something to turn the Dharma wheel, get us to open the eye, we may not make the little extra effort. So this story I want to tell you, requires a bit of effort, but it will grow on us. This is from a very famous collection, Chinese collection called the Blue Cliff Record. It's case number 5. Shui Feng, who was a very great Zen teacher, very determined, and finally he was a teacher, and he was in the Dharma hall giving a Dharma talk, basically almost exactly like this. This would have been happening. Shui Feng would have been sitting here just like we are, and people would be back there, and in an old Chinese Dharma hall, some people would be standing up, people would be coming and going, just exactly like this, actually. But this was this one took place maybe 1,500 years ago, so this was a long time ago. He was giving a lecture, and at some point in the lecture, this sentence was spoken, and this became the koan. Pick up the whole great earth like a grain of rice. Throw it down before you. If you don't understand, I'll beat the drum and call everyone to look. Pick up the whole great earth like a grain of rice. Throw it down before you. If you don't understand, I'll beat the drum and call everyone to look. And then in the way the koans are collected, there are poems, commentaries, and one of the lines in the poem that comments on this is, when spring arrives, which it's done, for whom do the 100 flowers bloom? For whom do the 100 flowers bloom? Well, they bloom for you. So if our teaching is pointing us in the right direction, it's pointing us toward understanding that each of us sits in the same seat as the Buddha. Each of us has as our mother prajna paramita. Each of us has this stimulus to action, toward compassionate action, toward wise action. So if this koan is puzzling, can you imagine picking up the whole great earth like a grain of rice? It's hard to imagine. What does it possibly mean? It's not something that we can get conceptually. We can't go into the mind that's conceptualizing. Well, I'm here, and there's the earth is a grain of rice. That makes no sense. The way to approach this koan is actually to just settle right now. You can close your eyes if you want, or you don't have to. But go into your body. And in that body, let that body be a really big body. Sort of a big mother body, big body. A vast, vast body of space. So big that that body is looking back at our little earth. That beautiful blue-green earth. Can you imagine from that perspective, that huge perspective, and looking at the earth and reaching out and holding it? And then you throw it down. He says you throw it down. You come back. So in order for us to find the real nurturing in all of us, we have to take our proper place. We take our Dharma position. And sometimes in practice or life, we tend to think, we stay in the small point of view. We may stay in the child's point of view. We stay in, well, everything else is too big. What I do can't make a difference. There are so many problems in the world, you might think. We're told this. These thoughts come into the head. So many. It's so vast and so big. Nothing I do could make any difference. So I'll just sit here. But the key to our practice is that in sitting here, we can drop that point of view and we can come back to realize actually the strength of our effort, the power of our effort. We're not just small over here because of the way our mind works and because of the actual nature of mind and life. We're also really, really limitless, unlimited. From there we act. And the koan also holds the feeling of care. You're picking up something, holding it very carefully. Of course, in Zen and in our practice, we're taught to treat everything very respectfully, very carefully. Your Zen Center, our Zen Center, is kept immaculately clean. Sometimes people come to our Zen Center and they say, I'm not sure why you're asking me to clean. It's like cleaning a clean room. Yes, we are cleaning a clean room, and we're cleaning it in order to learn how to be present with everything in a very respectful way. So, when we undertake the Bodhisattva path, which we've done, it throws us into a world of infinite responsibility. When we're taking care of one object, that one object is not disconnected from any other object. So when we're taking care of one object, one candle, it's completely connected to every other object. Therefore, we take care of it as if it were the great earth. The whole great earth is taken care of when we appropriately care for that candle. This is the way it actually is connected. So if we finally, when we're allowed to think of how connected everything is, it might make us overly careful. When we realize that everything that we do is having an impact on absolutely everything else, it might make us tentative. So this koan says, pick up the entire earth and then throw it down. It's telling us we have this power. And if we fully take our Dharma position, then we use that power appropriately. Dharma position is a very important teaching in Buddhism.